So the last month or so.
Yeah, hectic.
Yeah, kind of wild, huh? So, what was that like? Playing in the Super Regional, playing in the World Series, first opportunity to play in the World Series.
First opportunity to play in the postseason.
Oh, you hadn't played in the postseason at all?
No, that was my first postseason atmosphere in 4 years, essentially.
Wow.
So I think I was very just giddy about it. But being the Super and Super Regional were special because the fans were so good.
Yeah, you looked pretty excited after that game.
Oh man, they were louder at home than any games were, I'd say, in Omaha. That's how it feels, at least. Just the best fans you can ask for. And then obviously, first trip we've made to Omaha since 2017. So special for us and special for a lot of other people.
And you got a little revenge for that 17 team.
I know. We know a good group of guys off that squad, so it's kind of a little bit of that vengeance.
Did you guys worry at all? Because your pitching didn't line up like theirs did because of the way, Florida buzzed through their side of the bracket.
Yeah.
You guys had those battles with Wake, had to use Paul again.
Well, I think...
was there any worry at all with you guys?
So I think a big part of playing there, the weather plays a big factor due to the shadows and the wind. When the wind's blowing in, you're not hitting homers. When the wind's blowing out, you can hit a lot of them. But if you play a day game, you can see really well. Play a night game, you cannot see for at least 7-8 innings. So I think that was definitely something to factor in. And we had played 5 games in a row at that point. They hadn't played a game in 4 days. So I think we kind of just stayed ready the whole time. I'm not saying they didn't, but it was cool to see the bullpen, especially with what happened in the middle of the year, be able to make adjustments and be the reason why we won.
I know you talked about the dog pile and how that wasn't great, but what was it like post game when you knew, hey, listen, I'm a national champion now?
It was really cool just to see the reaction on my teammates' faces and get to hug our coaches and our staff. I mean, because all those guys, from the managers down to the trainers, down to the assistant trainers, they make such a big impact when you're there every single day. And there's just such a big group of love, I think, communally, and we really thrived off of it, and it made the season what it was.
So your facial expressions on television was one of the highlights of the World Series. Just where does that all come from? I mean, you had the little shimmy, in the dugout, and the celebrations.
I try to have as much fun as I can, whether I'm in the dugout or on the field. So I don't know why I kept getting caught. To be fair, I'd get on my phone after the game and be like, damn, they got me again. I thought I had a little bit of peace in there, but I'm not complaining.
That was great. It made my wife's day, the huge LSU fan she is. She was like, these guys are just having fun.
Yeah, and that's genuinely what made us really, really good. Because I go back to game 2 in the finals, and we were down, 15-20, and we had guys in our dugout chirping in the 9th inning, and I was like, damn, they really don't care. So I knew we were going to be ready to go come the last game Monday.
So now, throughout your career down there, you dealt with countless injuries.
Right.
But then you hear, Guidry and a couple of the other guys go, oh, he knew he was going to do this.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to bat 390 and hit a home run in every 8 at-bats. He just needed the opportunity. Where does that confidence come from?
Well, I mean, I can't sit here and say that I don't believe that. I knew over the last 4 years that I've been plenty capable enough to do this, and I didn't even think I really got going for a good while of the season, which is a scary part. But I don't know, there was no reason for me not to have self-belief, because I'd already been to the lowest I would be in terms of, I was out for almost 2 years, essentially. We had COVID, everything. So I think just being able to fall in love with what I was doing every day again and enjoy the game for what it was, and it just helped, it freed me up a lot, and I think that's why I was successful.
How big did the ball look when you were swinging the bat so hot, towards the end of the season there, when you were hitting 600 at one point?
When it's happening really well, you don't know what's really going on. So I think that's kind of the way to describe it. It was just happening. I wasn't trying to do anything special, and that's just what I would tell myself, let it happen, because when you just let yourself do things naturally, the good things will happen.
Your dad told me that you're a real student of the game and you study hitting
Yeah.
a ton.
Yeah.
How did you come up with your approach at the plate?
Well, I think for me a lot when I grew up, it was studying mechanics of the swing, and because all great hitters move similar and have similar mechanics, but I think stylistically they're all very different. But for me, when I was younger, I would try extremes for whatever, whether it was like having a big leg lift or like I do now, have a big pump with my hands. I would try so many different things that to try and troubleshoot other issues that I kind of got carried overboard with it, and I wasn't being like an actual hitter. I was just kind of swinging a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So I think having that experience with failure and trying so many different things and then learning how to have an approach and be a hitter, which is what I think I did this year, being able to blend those is why I had the success I did.
So MLB draft is this weekend. You know, you told me off camera that you can't worry too much about that. What's the future right now in your mind?
Gotta go back down to school, get my stuff out of my apartment, and then I just plan to spend this weekend with my family, enjoy it with whatever happens, because like you said, I'm not gonna put too much stock into that, whereas I can't control their decisions or what happens.
Right.
I'm just gonna try and enjoy it. Whatever comes next, I'm very excited for, and I can't wait for it. But
Now, is there a world where you're back at LSU next year?
it just depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna say no if it's a great opportunity. And LSU's been so kind to me, and the fans are so loving and supportive that I consider it a second home. I've lived my crucial years of adult life there, and so I know it well. I'm fond of it. But yeah, we'll see.
But what you really want is to go play pro ball at this point.
I don't know. I mean, it's been just a long journey, and like I said, I'm ready for whatever opportunity is next, and I'm really
Yeah.
excited for it.
So your dad told me that he was like, I don't want to tell you his goals because they're so lofty.
They're so what?
So lofty.
Yeah, it sounds delusional when I say it, but then I do it, and then people are like, "Oh, he could have done it the whole time."
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, I said that months ago."
I told you I was
So
gonna.
I do. Yeah, pretty.
Told you I was gonna
lofty.
hit the cover off the ball for 6 months.
Yeah, I can only imagine my teammates when I was not even playing and I was just talking absurd things. So
So I mean, can you give us a little like what are some of those goals?
I think in this game, mentally, you have to want to be the best player that there is. I don't think you can find success otherwise, whereas like you want to sharpen yourself as much as you can, and obviously the competitive aspect of this game is to be the best.
Yeah.
No matter whether if it's the best version of yourself, you want to compare it to other people, whatever. But for me, I just try to be the best player I can, and I obviously view myself as that. And I think that was a big difference maker for me, was just being a fan of myself and being a really big fan. Because then, I don't know, I kind of look at it as like split personalities almost. Like, I'm there to entertain and have fun, and then I get to appreciate it while I'm off the field. It's pretty cool.
So you told us a story off camera about the dog pile.
Yeah, right.
Walk me through that.
Well, wisely, I didn't get under the one we had in Baton Rouge. I stayed off to the side, and I was fine. It was great. I got to actually enjoy it. But in Omaha, I wanted to try and bring Guidry to the ground. I failed. I got twisted up. My leg winded up over my whole body. I was screaming, just please get up the whole time. So I didn't get to enjoy it right off the bat. I had to wait a good 30, 35 seconds where I could breathe on the ground. And then I got to celebrate. So it wasn't a perfect cap to end it.
So at the World Series, you know, it sounded like you were a little bit beat up. What was going on with was it your ribs?
Yeah, I had gotten hit by a pitch in the supers. And same thing happened to a few players that we played against, where it's like that bruising and that swelling on that rib really doesn't go away for a while. So I think it was just a time-sensitive issue, and we obviously didn't have much time. I couldn't wait a full week, and I was able to catch, which was my biggest concern throughout those games. I knew that the other players would pick up where we needed to offensively, and I think when I told Coach this the other night, when we won that third game that I didn't play, I knew we were going to win the whole thing because it was such a smooth game. where I was like, I forgot like how much of a good team we have in terms of depth, and other guys were able to pick up people, and Milazzo did a fantastic job of picking me up, and I think that's just kind of the epitome of our team, and vice versa. I picked him up when he got hurt at the end, so I think it's just that's what made us really, really good.
I saw you hug him.
Yeah.
What did you say to him?
Just I love you, and I'm grateful to have had these 4 years, because him and I came in together. I think people really tried to pin us against each other, which I find to be interesting, because yeah, we want to compete against each other, and there's an aspect to that, but we also got to the point where we just wanted to see each other succeed, and it wasn't about ourselves. We tried to help each other as much as we could, and yeah, I mean, I'll appreciate him for life, and I'm ready to see him again.
Jordan talked at a media availability towards the end of the year and said that you had helped him a ton with his swing, and how you were always there even when you weren't playing.
Yeah.
You were there to be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing with you, or
Jordan?
whatever. What brings that out in you?
You're talking about Jordan?
Jordan Thompson.
Yeah. So him and I hit almost every day together, and we would just talk swing, and I don't think he's come near his potential. I think a team's going to pick him, and it's going to be the best decision they make within a 10-year period, because his tools are out of the roof, and I think he's such a tough kid to have had the season he had in 21, to come back to this university, playing every single day for this team, and make the adjustments he did and improve like he did. I couldn't be prouder of somebody. And then towards the end, just such a resilient human being to be able to, he scuffled, yeah, but the outside noise was pretty absurd to see on my end. So I can only imagine how he felt, and he handled that flawlessly. And like I said, he's a special person. He's going to do really good things in this game for a long time.
How nice was it to see him have that success in that game?
It was, like I said, I think everything was kind of a perfect ending in and of itself. We got smoked, we came back, we smoked them. Bullpen closed it, did everything they needed to, like people said they wouldn't all year. Same thing with Jordan. People were telling him, why the hell are you in the lineup, blah, blah, blah. And he's the reason we won that game, getting us off to a hot start in the first.
So what's the difference when you're playing catcher between catching 92, 93, 94 and catching 102 with movement that's just nuts?
Well, I give credit to Paulie Fingers. He his command is good, and I don't necessarily have to worry about where the hell it's going to go. So it made all three of our jobs, me, Brady, and Al's, a hell of a lot easier this year. Because when you got someone's stuff that's that good and they know where it's going, it's usually going to miss a lot of bats. So it's a lot of just throwing it down to third is what that entails.
So this right here.
Yeah.
How did you decide to do that? How did you come up with the shirts?
So my fault. The stash itself, Jared Jones, I had showed him a picture of an old mustache I had, and I was kind of just tired of the beard. And he said, go back to it. And I just threw in the soul patch for a joke. I just thought it was funny. And then I wanted to see how thick I could get it. And then I started playing, and people liked it. And the shirts happened because my dad just sent me a picture of a Post-it note with something he drew, and he was like, this would look cool on a shirt. And I said, yeah, I mean, may as well try it. Because he just wanted, I think what's going to happen with NCAA is it's going to become so much more personalized to players, and to where they're able to make a lot. Because, I mean, you saw what we were able to do in a week's time period with no notice and how many people ate it up. And I'm so thankful for everyone that supported it, because it's cool to see shirts with your own face on it. It's a little weird.
It's quite the advertisement.
Yeah.
On ESPN during the World Series.
I know, thanks to
everybody was wearing it.
Thanks to them, too.
I saw a story with your mom where she always went to the same spot at your guys' send-offs at the hotel and stuff. How nice was it, when you come out there and you see all those fans, which LSU is one of the only schools that has it like that.
Right.
But then you see mom over there, in Omaha for 2 weeks cheering you on.
Well, I think it's awesome to see the whole family. I mean, my mom was there, my sister, my brother, my dad. And after not seeing them for a long time, it's really cool to see them in such a special place, and they're on a really cool time, and I'm just thankful they got to make the trip.
Your overall experience in Omaha, talking to a little kid that wants to play college baseball that's looking up to you guys, How would you explain the Omaha experience to a kid?
The Omaha experience, or like the overall college?
Just the whole the College World Series, because like I've experienced it one time,
Right.
And
well,
when I was up there, Tennessee went 0-2, so I wasn't there long.
That was my first time as well. So are you trying to ask me like how they if they want to make it there, etc.?
Well, just like if they say, hey, what was it like for you, Hayden? You know, what's it like being able to play in Omaha?
Indescribable. I can't really put it into words a whole lot. I think there's so many moments that I'll remember within themselves, and it's not, a lot of it doesn't even have to do with what was on the field, like just hanging out with my teammates and being with the guys. And I think unreal would be the word to describe it, because it doesn't feel like it happened.
It really is a cool experience, man.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like I said, I got to go up there 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and you know, Tennessee wasn't there long, but God, we had fun while we were there.
Yeah, and I think
I didn't even go to Rocco's. I didn't even go try to get a Jello shot.
Yeah, I don't think you're missing much.
No?
No.
You don't like Jello shots? Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely get a shot of that too. So stay on him while he talks about it. How many times you hit that scoreboard?
As many times as there are holes. That's funny. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
Nobody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's it like being home now? I mean, you haven't spent a lot of time in Shreveport Bossier.
Right? Yeah.
And you know, in several years. Like, what's it like just kind of being home and, you know, before the draft here, you got like no real responsibility at this point.
Yeah, I think this is the first step before I have to be a real adult. So I'm trying to soak that in as much as I can, live off my father, and I'm just glad to be back home with my family and spend time here and get to spend it with my dog as well. So just love seeing my family, and just one of the more important things in life.
What did your time here at Airline mean to you for your career?
A lot, because I mean, I was at Loyola beforehand,
Yep.
and I think a big part of the reason was to jump in terms of pure, just from a competition standpoint, given at the time. I was just able to get pitched around a lot at Loyola, so I think it was kind of like, all right, at the time I wanted to do what was best for potentially getting drafted and stuff like that. But I think a lot of the kids I grew up with and played with throughout travel ball and middle school and stuff like that, I wound up finishing my career out with them here, which was very cool. I kind of just put a bow on it. And it being closer to home definitely made the drive in the morning a lot easier.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you rode a mile?
Something like that.
You played for 2 different coaches that won a College World Series.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What are the differences between Jay and Paul?
Well, I think stylistically they're different in the way they go about things, and I don't think that's wrong. I think every coach has a method to their madness, and Coach Maneri's worked for a really long time at a really high rate. I have the utmost respect for him and the things he did for my career. And I mean, Coach Johnson, excuse me, is one of the most detailed human beings I've ever been around in terms of, that's why I put a lot of faith in him and a lot of trust in him. And I told him that, and I think it really just paid off, because no one does more work than he does. No one puts in the time like he does, so there's no reason for me not to have that trust in him. And like I said, I appreciate both of them more than they really will know. So, yeah.
You committed as a freshman.
Right.
So what was that conversation like when you talked with Paul and he said, "Hey, you coming?"
Well, met in his office, and it was like I didn't listen to probably 3/4 of what he said because I was kind of zoned out because I was like, wow, this office is really tall. And he was talking so much, and I just kept doing this and looking up at the ceiling. And then I just talked to my family, and at the time seemed like a good decision. But I'd urge anyone not to really rush when you have that much time. And obviously the rules are different now with younger kids, but take your time, find where you want to play, place that wants you to play, I think is a big thing. And I'm grateful ultimately that I did make that decision because I wouldn't be here now. And I wouldn't have got to meet the people that I did, which is the coolest part of it by far.
Yeah. Going through that process, what would you, like, for a high school kid now
Right.
that's, you know, getting a little bit of love, what advice would you give them going through that recruiting process?
Well, I think they got to realize that there's players just like them, if not better, at their same age all across the world, and that's becoming an increasing thing. And I think obviously the goal for some players is just to get an education, have a good college career, and then usually hang it up, and that's fine. Obviously you accomplished what you wanted to, but in terms of moving past that, like there's real ballers out there, so I think it's important to be self-aware with where you stack up and what you need to improve on, and then go from there. And then obviously loving the game just goes into it so much, because it's like you with work. If you didn't love it, grinding like you have, it's not going to be enjoyable.
Right.
It's not going to be fun. So I'd just say that, just love it and work hard.
Do you have anybody that's kind of helping you, that's, you know, kind of been through the draft process and all that stuff? You know, kind of how I was giving you or having you give advice to young kids. Is there somebody kind of giving you advice on right now for you?
Obviously I have a good team of people around me that are going to help me make the best choice, and
Right.
I think I've kind of been through it before. I know what the process kind of looks like and what to expect. So to answer your question, no. But yeah, I feel confident going into it.
What do you think the sky is for somebody like Paul?
Skeens?
Yeah.
There is no sky. Sky isn't real.
He's like a right-handed Randy Johnson.
That's not a bad comp. I think the same thing goes back to how Coach Johnson is. The way they prepare and work is different than people you've been around, and that's why they're of a different caliber. And seeing him work the way he does paid off on a lot of us. And to go on top of that, he's a great person, one of my best friends. And like I said, I don't think there is a sky necessarily. He can do whatever he wants.